day, good evening, good day, wherever you may be. This is reference to Bill Cooper, The Facts is Shared of the World. EducateYourself.org. You might want to investigate this on what to play. In audio. Now, the Jewetts, the Freemasons, the Illuminati. There's all the history related to this. Now let me just check my audio is coming through. Let me share this out. It's a very interesting MK Ultra agent. There's just this is all linked. Why is there such thing as targeted? I found some very interesting audio. Can read it in my head all day. I've got to find where I found it. Yeah, the DUMs, the underground bases, and the minor labs. Majestic 12. Not sure if it's on that website. Why are children going missing? I found the evidence of the emotions of humanity have been manipulated for years. Not sure where I found the information now. Fascinating listening to it. The demonic side of life, unfortunately. Yeah. There's been shadow banned. Yeah. There's been shadow banned. Yeah. Right, basically, this is reference to snakes and demons, the reptilians, the shape-shifting. You see, the gatekeepers, the Jewetts and 13 bloodline families have been behind a lot of things for quite a while. The Nephilim. Well, this is on Coast to Coast. Art Bell. 4 months ago, the Art Bell bolt, and where they drain of the pineal gland, the energy. If you're a light worker, and I mean, this is like, you know, certain, I have to be careful what I say, certain information, the mixing of human DNA and non-human DNA, you would go in Book of Enoch, maybe, and you might want to look in Genesis, reading the chapter in King James Bible, maybe. And obviously with Against the Grain YouTube channel earlier, his last stream, he'd only broke down evidence of these man-made, claimed to be UFOs, but they were man-made, extreme high technology. It's always been around, isn't it? Project Paperclip. William Bill Cooper, his book, 500 pages actually, it's quite big. The late Bill Cooper, in his Pearl of, can't remember the title, but if you go and search out his videos and search his name online, you will find a lot of archives. Goes back to the 90s, maybe further than that. And somebody's reloading it and keeping the information alive. Because here we are, 2022, and the future of transhumanism, AI replacing mankind. In ways that the globalist reset is already here. In ways that the modification of GMO foods is already here. Financial system going digital currency, cashless is already coming any month. The chaos already going to hit mankind on Earth is going to be just about literally every kind of subject you can imagine. Beautiful families in their own way, starving, literally the deliberate ranking up the inflation rates in all commodities is by design. So only a few will profit in the corporations worldwide. And they're stocking up and storing away in certain parts of Antarctica. If you didn't know about the ice wall and about the flat earth and the affirmative, I mean, whether you're flat earth or not flat earth, it doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, the underground bases, military, black ops, minor labs, the DUMS, it's been around a long time. The pact that was made with the non-entities, human entities, a long time ago, for advanced technology to be around on this earth. Human genome mixing, it's allegedly implied, was, well, it was alleged in an audio I was just listening to that I'd known this for quite a while actually. I've researched this subject, but there's other websites I can't go back and find. I have saved the website, but I used to stream the evidence, and so the powers that be just cut off 2 channels because I come close to the truth. Simple. So let me go into this. Just watching the time. Right.
Hey, if you're a UK parent and don't have life insurance, then check this out. The site I'm going to share with you right now.
There's always everywhere you go.
Now, this is going to be really interesting. Now, who is William Henry, among other things?
Just bear with me to get the right one first. Coast to coast. Coast to coast. Right, let's try and find it again. Coast to coast. Okay.
William Henry, among other things, William Henry had a private meeting with Mother Teresa just months before her death. There he gathered some insight that he is going to share with you. He is going to discuss the mission of the King of Terror, how Steven Spielberg's films encode the return of the peacemaker, the role Y2K plays. Scam, he says. And so here he comes. William Henry, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Art. Hello, everybody.
William, what do you think? Should I get a black cape and put a big M on it so that I can feed the media?
I love it. You know, we need to feed the media to somebody. I mean, it's not just the American media. I caught a story out of the London Observer the other day that was just hammering this material. I mean, they talked about the King of Terror, and the word cult was spread throughout it. And this problem seems to me, back at least to that Heaven's Gate fiasco, when you had people at Newsweek magazine writing in kind of a yuck style that those people said, oh, they're going to a star called Sirius. Can you believe it? And it's like they've never ever heard of Sirius and the role that it's played.
Right.
Welcome to Coast AM's YouTube channel. I'm George Norrie. Like, share, and subscribe. Also find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and coasttocoastam.com. Become a Coast Insider for ad-free access to thousands of shows you'll really enjoy.
You're listening to Coast AM. Connie Willis here. How are you? Hope you're doing okay tonight. Hope you're looking forward to a great show tonight. And also open lines coming up for you later. You can find me, if you'd like to, elsewhere at ConnieWillis.com. That's where my site is. I like to interview people, more so I call it conversations, but I have a very interactive website where you get really involved. It's also a membership site. So it's not a podcast. It is not 101, and it ain't no podcast. That's how I like to say it.
This basically is Coast to Coast, February 2022. It's related to the world-renowned expert in controlled remote viewing, which allows trained individuals access communicate with the subconscious mind. Through the RCRV, an individual can bring to the surface and objectively what lies hidden within the subconsciousness. Join the guest, and it quotes, the experience of the world of control remote viewing. This is military based, right? The Mired Labs, the MK Ultra, the remote neuro monitoring, the transhumanism agenda. That's not the one I was going to cover. So I'm going to go back to the reptilians.
Your council or social housing provider does not want you to know this. If you have
Welcome to Coast AM's YouTube channel. I'm George Norrie. Like, share, and subscribe. Also find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and
And what I'm going to say, right. So, reality films distribution claims in an interview, there has been underlying darkness controlling humanity since time began. Often described as a missing piece in the puzzle. I don't agree with David Icke myself. Or The Visible Darkness by Ellis Taylor. The reptilians are the shadow beings in the dark. They're the mix, the DNA, the bloodlines. Part of the bloodlines, the children of those mixing human and non-human entities, while the reptilian or the different races went back to their star, where they came from, and could not take the offspring with them. So the females raised them, and that's what created a blue kind of scenario claimed to be bloodline in history to date. And that's why the interbreed into keep it within the family, and the global is worldwide control. This has been going on for a long time. So, and it's not just Freemasons, the elites, Vatican, etc., and the royal families. You want to research, educate yourself to all 13 bloodline families and do some digging if you want to know more. This is just touching the subject on this on the audio. Now, research has now revealed the presence of the supreme and the interdimensional intelligence that's been manipulating mankind for centuries. Well, I knew that a long time ago. As an unprecedented exposure of reptilians on Earth. This is what the advanced technology is about for a long time ago, and where the brain interface, mind control, much more. And that includes people who empaths are targeted and they're tested upon without their consent. There's a lot more to it, and they do use children. I'm going to put a left here for my protection. And this is for under 18 disclaimer. Sorry, not for under 18. I haven't been able to edit the video to do that. It's for over 18s only. And there's other things they do too. Might want to research, and adults too. They also use minor military black ops, minor labs, and abductions portraying it as UFOs, but it's not. It's military people posing as that. The underground dumps are real. Yeah, it's sick, and it's been going on for generations. There's parallel worlds out there. This goes on. Research has revealed the presence of them and manipulate mankind for centuries. And our unprecedented exposure on reptilians on Earth. And here, they test me from alien adoptees' experiences and point to similar alien behind the alien presence on Earth. I might not be able to play it all because it's getting late for me in the UK, but here we go, coast2coast.com.
CoastAM.com. Become a Coast Insider for
On this one planet, in this one slither of frequency, is ridiculous. But the human perception has been so programmed with limitation, with a sense of I can't, the sense of it cannot be, that it's left to very few compared with the global population to explore beyond that sense of can be. And that's why these films are not made in greater abundance.
Creatures with large heads, with fur and big eyes, like the traditional puppy dog pictures that make us go, look, isn't that cute? But one doesn't look at a reptile and think, isn't that cute? That basic human empathy just isn't there.
Well, what I do is I open my mind, I let the information be my guide, and that decides where I go, not preconceived idea. And unfortunately, preconceived idea, belief, whatever that may be, is the
You have to research this information yourself. I can give you places to look, people to see. Look up the work of Professor John Mack.
It was a synchronous event in the sense that I think anyone knows what I mean, is that you find out something just prior to experiencing it. And I'd read a couple of books a couple of months before. One of them was Dr. John Mack, the book Abduction. Dr. John Mack, some viewers may know, is a gentleman who was a university professor of psychiatry at Harvard University. He was exposed to quite a number of people with experiences. He was a skeptic, did all the psychological testing, and he finally, in his 2 books, was firmly in the conclusion that these were real. These were real extraterrestrial encounters. I also read the book Communion, which is a classic with Willie Strieber, talking an author again of sci-fi fiction, who also said he'd had experiences. But the first person that came through my door that said, Mary, I've heard you're open-minded, was a gentleman called Ellis Taylor. And Ellis came to me via a friend, and the friend had told him I was open-minded. So he came to me really wanting to tell me about something. He said, Mary, there's no support groups for this. For this, they just think you're a loony. And here I had a middle-aged, very articulate gentleman who was telling me quite normally that this is what was happening to him, that he was aware he was being taken up on spacecraft, that he was waking up with shaved areas on his body, other marks on his body. His whole family were affected. That was his partner and the children. He talked about going through walls. And he said no one would come to the house because they thought it was demons.
On the 13th of April in 1996, I got up about 7 o'clock in the morning, went to the loo, came back to bed. My partner went with the covers off, thinking, what's all that all over your body? And I had all these marks on my body, and I couldn't quite make them out, but she was really freaking out. And there was a face there, drawn of a face. There was like something there that looked like a tail or maybe a paw or something that I didn't quite make out. And there were finger marks here in a strange configuration. And they were all red marks, and none of them had any impression. They were just completely smooth. And then I was burnt all the way around as well, all around the rest of my body, bright red. My partner, as I said, was freaking out. She rushed to get her camera and came back and started taking photographs of them. And meanwhile, I looked in the mirror because I couldn't quite see what they were, and I could see what she was talking about because it's very distinct, these things. And she took photographs, and very shortly after that, they vanished.
Part of it is, the 3 questions they ask me is, am I going crazy? Is this real? And if it's real, why me? 3 crucial questions. And so it was, okay, Mary, you better find out whether this really is real or whether a lot of people are just having a very, very interesting, unusual experience that, is more, they believe it's real, as is the favourite. Oh, well, if they believe it's real, then it's real to them, which is the biggest cop-out you can ever get.
I started having experience.
Simon Parkes is one of those.
No, 1963. With a 3.5-year-old child, and showing exactly what they looked at. And it freaked me out. Of course it did. But, if you take a child of 3 and stick it on an aeroplane and fly it from, I don't know, Birmingham Airport to London Airport, by the time that kid's 10, it will go from Heathrow to JFK with no worries because it knows no different. And if these creatures don't harm you, you have no reason to be scared of them. So it means that my perceptions are going to be more accurate than somebody whose heart scared out of their mind, has their body frozen and can't move. So no, there are shadow creatures that are genuinely shadow beings. There are jinn that can appear like shadow creatures. And all of the entities that we're discussing have the ability to go into a human's mind and make that human think they're seeing anything. And that's why Adolf Hitler got Dr. Mengele back in the late 30s to attempt to do work on humans that would prevent aliens from gaining control of their mind. And this is when Mengele just went completely off on his own tangent and ended up working for the Illuminati in America. But it originally stems from Hitler saying, because he was in contact with the Baron off-world group, how can we have soldiers who can prevent all the information being taken out of their mind by these aliens. So that's where all this research started from. This is what totally scared the Yanks. So for most people who have an alien experience, they really don't know what they're seeing, because they can only see with their eyes and believe what's happened to them. When you have an association with these creatures, and I can't be the only one, but when you have a long association with them, you have certain agreements, and these creatures are not. And she said the thing that shocked her more 20, 30 years later, after this had all happened to her,
I have this sense that I've known them all my life.
Existence from another dimension, or hovering in some spacecraft somewhere. They enter through these portal entries, and in the children's bedroom, there was this portal entry in the closet, the wardrobe, as they call it in the UK and other places. And me and my colleague, only her little daughter was home.
We'll go back out. Now, at that time at home, so you got a thought.
Deals were done, but they weren't necessarily beneficial to the populace. In modern times, phase one has always been to make you aware of our presence. Over time, we could gain acceptance through the use of literature, religion, music, movies.
Reptilian.
if you look at two themes of movies in recent times, and some of them not so recent times, but there's a big...
I won't keep it long there, but if you want to go and research this, now they're hacking me already, these demons, then you can go and find it. So for now, as they're blocking the internet, as per usual with me, snakes and demons, educate yourself. Snakes and demons. So, signing out.